I'm Hugh Neeson, one of the board members and development director. I'll be doing a little bit of the emceeing today. This is a historic day for the museum and for the Niagara Falls International Airport. Aerospace museums love to be at airports, especially at historic airports. 1928, this airport started. The runways were put in. Hangars built in the late 20s, two-story hangar that we're occupying right now. First terminal was a WPA project, 1934, 1939. It was 1940, marked the arrival of Bell Aircraft, the building that huge plant that's down the street. World War II, Army Air Corps was here, witnessing 12,000 fighters being delivered, one of which has returned after 70 years, spending most of its life in a cold, watery grave. 1947, the U.S. Air Force Base was established, and that airport also features the longest runway in Western New York. And that Air Force Reserve and Guide Unit is still serving our country greatly. Great move, CalSpan. CalSpan is the last vestige, if you will, of Curtiss Wright in Buffalo, because CalSpan came from Curtiss Wright's Flight Research Laboratory, then Cornell Aeronautical Laboratory, and then CalSpan. And it's great to see them here. 2009, the new terminal was open. And I'll get back to this in just a few instants, because that's a very important date for us. December 2012, the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics declared this, the Bell plant, and this airport a National Historic Aerospace Site. A very nice honor. Another great thing happened earlier than that, though, was July 2012, when Moog of Alma, the largest aerospace contractor in Western New York, bought the old Rocket Bell business on Walmer Road, and it's flourishing there. And I, as an ex-Bell employee, thought that rectified a 20-year problem. It should have never been sold in the first place. But they're here. I'll just go on here for a minute. So I said about the historic site. Early 2013, we started formally dealing with the NFTA relative to this site, and concluded it in earlier this year. Now let's go back to the opening ceremony of the airport, when State Senator George Maziarz proclaimed this site ought to be the home of the Niagara Aerospace Museum. Senator, your wish is our command. Would you please come up here as one of the prime movers in the establishment of this?
You know, it's really a good feeling to be here today. You know, I did at that time, at the opening of the new Niagara Falls International Airport terminal, mention that this would be a great spot for this museum. What we then termed the old terminal would be a great spot for this museum. I did that, of course, without talking to the NFTA, and shocked a lot of other people in the audience. But you know, I remember actually, Hugh, I think it was Paul who made the original call to my office, Paul Fulton, who said, you know, what is the NFTA going to do with the old terminal? And I said, I have no idea. I presumed at the time, like most people, that it would probably be demolished and something else would be put there. And Paul and yourself and the others said, you know, maybe a good spot for the museum. We should take a look at that. And I, of course, answered, like I'm sure absolutely every answer that I give when it comes to the NFTA. I said, let me call Henry Sloma and see what the NFTA thinks about that. And you know, and Henry, of course, made his contacts with the executive director, Kim Minkle, and the other members of the board. And you know, this is the result of all of those very good conversations. I can't think of a better home. And you know, when the museum first started out in downtown Niagara Falls, it was a great addition at that time. And then since that time, we've been on the move a little bit. And hopefully, this will be a permanent home for this great history of Western New York with all the aviation companies that we had here. And it couldn't have been done really without this outstanding board of volunteers who this has become their vocation in life. I'm talking about people like Paul and Hugh and all the others to find a permanent home for this treasure trove of history that we have here in Western New York. So I want to just extend my gratitude to Kim Minkle, to Henry Sloma, to the other board members that are here from the NFTA. This is a great use for this building. You know, I think I've been in the Senate for a long time, and I can tell you that the greatest sense of accomplishment that I have is when I drive down Niagara Falls Boulevard and I see these parking lots full here. And you know, there are 5 new hotels on Niagara Falls Boulevard because of the traffic at this particular airport here. And this museum is going to be a great augmentation to that synergy, that economic development synergy that we have here. You know, when the people who are flying out of Niagara Falls International Airport come here, they tend to come in the day before because of the bridge traffic and, you know, crossing the border and all that. They tend to shop at the Factory Outlet Mall. They eat at the restaurants here at Niagara Falls Boulevard. And now they're going to have an opportunity to view the history of the aviation industry here in Western New York. I think it's going to be a great segment of their vacations. And you know, we have to do the marketing of this facility, and I would call upon the NTCC with their newfound dollars from the casino revenue money to do that. You know, this could become one of our main tourist attractions here for all those visitors who come here. So again, the credit goes to a lot of other people. I mean, you know, Paul and Hugh made some initial phone calls to me. I made those calls to Henry Sloma, but Henry carried the ball with the NFTA. They carried the ball with getting it here. I do want to credit my colleague, Assemblyman John Soretto, who's here today, with being very supportive of the whole NFIA segment. This is just another part of that whole NFIA segment and growth factor that we have here, and it's been a real plus for this community. You know, the not totally, but much of the financial support for the new terminal came from the local share of casino money, which Kim is now flowing again. So you have a rather large check coming, and the governor knows it too. You were definitely on the list. The NFTA was for their share of the casino money. So that's going to pay off the bond for the construction of the new terminal, and hopefully as we go forward, even more money will be invested in this economic development for Niagara Falls and Niagara County. So again, thank you to all the volunteers. I can stand up here and, you know, it took a few phone calls initially, and I mentioned it out there maybe to get the ball rolling, but it took a lot more work from the volunteers at the Aerospace Museum, from the staff and employees and the board at the NFTA. They really deserve the credit. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. And on behalf of Chairman Howard Zebsky, our Board of Commissioners, the whole team at NFTA would like to officially welcome the Niagara Aerospace Museum to the Niagara Falls International Airport. And as you pointed out earlier, it's the natural place for this place to be, so it's very important. Yesterday I did a tour with Ball. I snuck in earlier, they were cleaning up, and I was just amazed that all of this stuff is in this building. I didn't think it would hold all of this, and they've assembled a a comprehensive array of artifacts from the aviation industry here in Western New York and throughout the country. So we're thrilled to have you here. As pointed out earlier, also, Western New York has a proud and distinguished history in aviation, from Bell Aircraft, Curtiss-Wright, Consolidated Aircraft, and many more who played an important role in the entire aviation industry. After I left yesterday, I was pausing and thinking about all of the displays and so on, and I had to reflect on a personal situation I have. I have a 16-year-old stepson, and he's a wonderful, wonderful young man. And we share a lot of ideas. Now, there's 50 years between us, so it's always interesting to hear his perspective of what goes on. He is desperately trying to convince me that if it's not on YouTube, it didn't happen. So I think we need to create a better understanding about history. And it's very important that we work so that the next generations understand what has happened here. I realized in going through the various displays that there's a story with each one about the men or women who designed them, flew them, and sometimes took them into battle. Incredible stories that are associated with each display. So with that, I'd like to applaud the efforts who created the Niagara Falls Aerospace Museum and their mission to tell the Western New York aviation story. Congratulations and good luck.
No, thank you. Thank you for letting me say something. Since I have this opportunity, I'd like to thank Senator Maziers for having the vision to bring this important museum here at the airport, and thank Henry Sloman, the NFTA, and especially the volunteers. You know, like everybody that lives in this area, and I went to school for social studies, history and education. I loved history and I love this country. My father-in-law, he worked at Bell, and for myself, there was a time when I worked at Carbrunum just over here in the 70s when I went to college for summer help, and I remember the stories with the workers were working at that time at Carbrunum. They were working on the seat, and it had to do with a helicopter, and if somebody was shooting bullets from down below, it would protect that person. But you can see between my father-in-law and those men that were making that seats at that Carbrunum, they shared one thing, the love of this country, and they all felt that they were doing something very, very important to make sure that those that protected our country were safe, and our independence and our freedom was preserved. And everybody played a part in it. And for that reason, you know, we have an important story here, and it needs to get out. And like everybody in Western New York, I think that there's many more of us that feel the sense of belonging to this museum, and we need to preserve that history because it's an important history. So with that said, I just want to say thank you for everybody being involved, preserving our history. So like Henry Sloma says, I look forward to the day to bring my grandchildren here and say that Niagara Falls played an important part in American history to preserve your freedoms and enjoy it, and don't ever take it for granted. And we were there. Thank you.
Well, first I can say it's done. We put the last dust rag away at 10 o'clock this morning. It's been a long journey to get here where we are today. There's a lot of people I have to recognize. Of course, Senator, without you, you're a man of your word. God love you. Henry Sloma, Kim Minkle, you made it happen. Bill Vanacek, Bob Stone and your staff, they were great in helping us with the transition. Howard Kirkwood, who engineered this whole thing, this wouldn't be here without his vision, planning. Craig Avery, Dan McGovern, and Dave Jones, if you'd raise your hand please, be recognized. Many nights they're here to 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night doing demolition, construction. The hours that were put in are just insurmountable. The dedication that these people put in together. Our 3 workers, Jason, and Jim, raise your hand. We worked them like dogs over the last few months to put this all together, but it's here. The museum's amassed over 100 years of rare and irreplaceable aviation artifacts. We invite you all to walk through at the end of the program here, and take your time, look and see what we've done. This is going to be a work in progress. We have a lot more displays to put together. Our goal is to get reopened to the public, get the major artifacts in. But over the next 6 months, you're going to see a progression of new displays being added, some of these displays being refined. So there's always going to be a lot of ongoing changes. We hope to become a major tourist destination in the Niagara Falls area. And I just want to make a comment about the NFTA. I know sometimes the NFTA gets bad press, but we put this together in 30 days with the staff of, Bill Vanacek, Colonel Minko, Mr. Sloman, his staff, and the attorneys David State and Mary Perla. And they worked with our attorney, Stan Kiesla, who unfortunately passed away a few months ago. But the effort that everybody put forth, this all happened in 30 days, and I would guess that's probably a record for any contract with the NFTA. So on behalf of the staff, the board members, and all the members of the museum, we thank you for your effort and appreciate everything you've done for us, and we hope you're here for a long time to come. Thank you.
I got a little surprised when I first drove up here. There's a Model T. I said, well, that never flew. Well, that belongs to Cliff Broadway. He's a member of the museum. He's the restorer and owner of that car. He's a Bell employee in manufacturing engineering. And he was part of the party that restored that blue helicopter over there. And he has a little presentation, special presentation, he would like to give. Cliff? Where is he? Oh, here he is.
Excuse me. Stay right here, you please.
Okay.
Quite an auspicious day we had here, folks. Say, quite an auspicious day we had here, folks. This is something that's proud that any of us could appreciate. And now I would like Senator George Maziarz to come up, please. Howard and Judy Kirkwood to come up too. I have here a little envelope. I'm going to present it to Judy and Howard because I've known them a long time. Not to...
I don't want an envelope, so that's all right.
And I will ask them to open it and tell you what's in it.
Hush money. This is amazing. Cliff has donated $5,000 to the museum. Amazing.
Thank you, Cliff. And you?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Sure thing.
Very good. Final remark. There's a rage running around these days, STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, trying to encourage kids to take the sciences. Well, if anything, this place is a historic STEM laboratory of 100 years of accomplishment and that. And we intend to use it as a forward thing for education to make kids aware, make others aware of what happens when we advance technology. Again, thanks to everybody for being here. Thanks for the opportunity. Let's hope we have a great future all together.